supposed to there?
As long as there's a Harlem, we'll have the Apollo.
Who's Jane Brown?
A singer. Talented. Maybe we'll go see him sometime.
Oscar-winning actor Forest Whitaker has won critical acclaim for incredibly diverse roles in a career that spanned decades. In his latest, he plays a real but little-known crime kingpin whose life intersected with some fascinating historical figures. The Godfather of Harlem debuts tomorrow on Epix. We sat down with Whitaker in Harlem to talk about it and how he's hoping to leave his mark beyond acting.
Harlem's mine.
Times have changed.
I haven't.
In his newest role, Forest Whitaker brings the heat. How does it feel to be on television? I mean, you're a movie star. A movie star, but far from acting like one.
I felt like I was making an independent film.
Yeah?
Yeah. I will shut down all of your spots, just like I did here.
Whitaker is both actor and executive producer in the new Epix series, Godfather of Harlem.
Cut it out! He's made.
It's the real-life story of gangster Ellsworth Bumpy Johnson, who ruled Harlem from the 1930s to the 1960s. As an associate of Charles Lucky Luciano,
This is Bumpy Johnson. He's a legend.
Johnson was a crime boss who wasn't always what he seemed.
Runs the sort of crime scene, including numbers running, drugs, but he's also a deep family man. He's a poet. He's a chess player.
He's complicated.
On one hand, he's this crime lord who does all these things in the city, and on another, he's somebody who sends people to college and tries to make sure that people's lives are better.
Oh, and Charlie just got in the Morehouse? We're a little short on funds, but you
Let's see what I can do.
Johnson's been fictionalized before.
I don't know why you make me come to these things.
To culture your Bumpy.
But this time, viewers see an older version.
I just know you'll get right back into the swing of things.
After a decade behind bars for drug conspiracy.
He's out now. He's trying to figure out who's taking over his territories, how he can get them back, what the maneuvers are going to be, the strategies, and how he can keep himself safe and alive.
Nothing goes down from 110th to 160th unless I get my cut.
He's juxtaposed against two very famous other characters, Malcolm X and Adam Clayton Powell, the politician.
Right.
Hello, Reverend Powell.
Been a long time, Johnson. Welcome back.
Yeah, I mean, I think
You couldn't make this stuff up.
No, it's too wild when you see it. I mean, when you find out about it.
I mean, he grew up in the crime world with Malcolm X.
Yeah, well, Malcolm X was, when he was Detroit Red, before when he was, running numbers himself and doing a number of difficult things. They became friends, I guess, during that time.
Bumpy Johnson. Detroit Red.
Forest Whitaker's big break was as the brawny football jock in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. But with every new film, he broke ground and the taboos of the times.
She's my type.
Most notably as the lover of a transgender woman in 1992's The Crying Game. And fanatical Ugandan dictator Idi Amin in The Last King of Scotland, which earned him an Oscar. But producing is where he thinks he can make a greater impact. Along with partner Nina Yang Bon Jovi, he founded Significant Productions in 2010.
Oh, hey.
What's up?
It's helped to increase diversity in Hollywood with films like Fruitvale Station.
Ma, I'm sorry. Let me just get a hug, Ma. Ma, let me just get a hug, Ma. Hey, Ma, I'm sorry.
An indie breakout, Sorry to Bother You.
Hello?
Hi, Mrs. Costello.
People connect to a story, they connect to a character, and ultimately they can connect to a culture or a people.
Yeah, the more specific you are to a thing, a culture, the more universal the stories start to become. Because we've never had a financially unsuccessful film. I think all of our films have been at Sundance, like 3 of them have won, 2 of them have been to Cannes. So we've been really fortunate to these little films, but with filmmakers that make a difference.
But the biggest difference Whitaker hopes to make is through the Whitaker Peace and Development Initiative,
where global citizens are empowered to use peaceful conflict resolution.
a global change agent that's helped hundreds of thousands in Africa and Mexico build small businesses and bridges toward peace.
Imagine war as the only reality you've ever known.
It was inspired by a child soldier he met in Uganda.
She had been a child soldier who had done a lot of harmful things to others, was ostracized by the community, but had to live in the community because she had no place to go. She was just in this hut. And I remember talking to her and saying, you know, what can we do? I brought her voice back to the UN, and they heard that. And I decided, you know, I have to do something on the ground and make, you know, that can make a change.
Now that he's living part of the year filming his new series in Harlem, his fans have a bit more access to show their love.
Bye, guys.
Humble as ever, Whitaker still feels he's got a lot left to learn.
Sometimes I think I'm too old to be like not having answers. You know what I mean? I should have better answers. I should know what to do. I keep making the same mistakes sometimes. Hopefully the next loop will be a little different, you know, a little twist and turn its way to something even more important, more connected.
You don't feel important or connected?
When I think of important things, I think more about like the issues with humanity and like the connections that we all have as people to be able to be one. Like Desmond Tutu has talked about it when he says, do your little bits of good wherever you are, and all those little bits of good will overwhelm the world. I want to be a part of that, those little bits.
So soulful, so sweet, such a great guy. I remember him in Bird, where he played Charlie Parker. That he learned how to play the sax for that. You know, his origins are in music. He won a scholarship at USC's music school, but then was discovered by an agent. His next film, he's going to showcase some of that vocal talent.
Oh, good.
In a movie on Netflix called Jingle Jangle. So
it's so interesting about his voice because he speaks at like this level, right? But it's so serious. You see it at this level.
And you're moved in. I mean, you just kind of go in to listen. I mean, you really hear him.
I love that humanity side of him. Yeah. With all that money and power, he wants to give back. He wants to do good. So
good man.
Looking forward to checking it out.